Let's do that. All right. We have one more feature coming out of the Big Easy, coming out of Crescent City, coming out of New Orleans. Uh, as I was saying before we started this, I first became aware of him. He wrote a book in the mid 90s called The Jew and the Lotus, which really, really rang a bell with me. I really enjoyed that book. It really spoke to me. And so when I met him many years later, it was a thrill for me. But he's got a new book of poetry out. I'll throw a link up to where that book is on the Facebook chat. But please give your ears, your attention to a really good man, a good writer, Roger Kamenetz. Roger, unmute yourself. You're on.
Okay, I've unmuted myself. Is that going to be a permanent condition? It'd be nice. Well, I really have just been enjoying listening to Puma and George, and feel very happy to be joining their company, be among the poets. And I've been spending a lot of time back and forth between dreams and poetry for the last 10 years, and developed a way of working with dreams that really focuses on images. This book, Dream Logic, came about, and really it's sort of a series that I've been writing for the last 7 years. So I'm going to just read some and hope that they're worth listening to for you guys. And the first one, I'm going to start with a poem called Grandson. So it just goes like this. My job is to explain the world. The words they gave me to work with: saw, tree, red. Butter the saw, Grandpa said. The red rust on the teeth. I was the weakness in the pipe. He would be the flange. The dust of the sun, human molecules. The red lids of my sleepless eyes. The dead tongue of Mattermouth. The rust got shinier, but the dull saw groaned. The apple branches were moist inside. They had to go because of the wind, he explained. Unblock the breeze and the apple flowers. The apple is a rose, I learned later, more useless than my information. Here, 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 Grandpa ordered, from the wisdom of the old world. But I was new to worlds and didn't understand. Matthew was mentioning that January 28th was the anniversary of the Challenger and the yard site of Yeats. That's a great, I love that combination, yard site and Yeats. And it's also the birthday of a teacher that I studied with and I wrote about in a book called The History of Last Night's Dream. And her name was Colette Abouker Muscat. I always called her Madame. She was in her late 80s when I met her, and she lived a bunch more years after that. She was a teacher of waking dream visualizations, which she'd learned from both the Kabbalah of Girona in Spain and from a French contemporary of Freud's named Robert Dessoil. So we would sit on a porch in Jerusalem and make close our eyes and make dreams. She used to be kind of forceful person, and she didn't like it if the mind got in too much, and she would say, that's too many questions. So I wrote this poem for her in honor of her birthday anniversary called Too Many Questions. The poem talks about a visualization that she taught us where you are sweeping leaves and you pick an old leaf up and you put it against your heart and it kind of turns green. So here's the poem. An old gray crinkled leaf lay on its back at the end of a season of no. I stooped to warm the leaf between my hands and watched it green. What does this mean? I thought. What do I mean? Said the leaf. The snow had no mouth to speak of. What do I mean? I began to wonder. We were all talking at once, and in the confusion, the thought of no returned. I've been in exile, No said, cursed like an unbelieving race. I come to separate with bold black lines. The leaf groaned, knowing it was going to die all over again. So I guess I'm writing about words, but I thought I'd write a poem where I let the words speak directly without me in them. And I called it Misunderstanding, which there's a quote from Harold Bloom. I think it's from Harold Bloom. And he said, all literature is misunderstanding, which I never really understood, but I thought that was kind of a cool thing to say. So the words speak for themselves. We were doing fine with our motions and private oceans until he came in with his magnetic eye. He lined us up behind him like steel balls in a pinball chute, a train to pull his thoughts from one state to another. To herd us is to hurt us. We were little worlds spinning with ultimate energy, but what did he care? He preferred order to uncertainty. We were uncertainty, taking a chance on itself. We were worlds, but we wanted to be stars. He claimed to be a star maker, but was nothing but an impresario. His sentences all had periods. We loved the three little dots, and the outer space where the margins gave way, where real fought free of realistic. We dreamed of if. Our only hope was to be mistakes. We vowed to keep going until borders vanished and all meanings fell away. In that black silence, he would have trouble retrieving us, and we would be reborn from a womb of haze, like suns, like stars. But that far dazzling light wasn't a sun, it was a reading lamp. Okay, so these are mostly short, so I guess it's like being pecked to death by sparrows, but we'll bear with me. This one's called The Play's the Thing. There was an idea long ago, later it became words. When it was my time to put on the costume, the stink of old sweat was overwhelming. My skin ached. I would have traded madness for the next hour, the audience applauding abruptly on every broken word. The delivery, it turned out, was perfect. My anguish hit the spot. Satisfied, they left all at once, wiping their lips as if some great thirst had been satisfied. It isn't over, I wanted to say, but those weren't my lines. This poem is called The House of Reinvention, and it's for a friend, Tracy Hasfold. And there's a little, I don't know what you call it, epigraph, probably not. Okay, it goes like this. In the language of flowers, coreopsis means to be always cheerful. I don't know, coreopsis sort of looks, it's kind of a burnt orange color with a, I don't know, they're like black-eyed Susans, but they're not black. I mean, they're not white, whatever. Anyway, there in the house of reinvention, I might become not another which plagues me, but who I really am. Just down the wrong turn is the house of correction, where my mind has been dwelling for so many sentences. Out in the open courtyard, the children have been singing, the air full of their voices as a meadow of coreopsis. Someday I'll join them among the wildflowers that grow in byways and along edges of fences. The cruel guards laugh at me with their philosophies. Their teeth have been replaced by steel. You said coreopsis, but meant corpses, and the wise have explained the children's song. The guards can never leave the house of correction because they work there, but I can leave as quick as a dream. I close my eyes and hear singing again. Meet me at the back door of the house of reinvention. We can slip in easily. In the courtyard, the chorus sings and the corpses dance underground. Their crowns brush the roots of the coreopsis. So most of those are so-called prose poems. I mean, I don't know why we worry about that, but I think some people spend a lot of time saying what is a prose poem, and I don't. But um, this one isn't. So it's called Lullabiography, and it actually has two voices. One is mine asking too many questions, and the answering voice is my mother's. They say the angels are singing to you in heaven, mother. They say the lords of squat rule here below. Who are the lords of squat? I want their names. You would only squander them. I patrol the streets in my fluff armor, leading an army of fluff. Only the owl sees I am a knight. The lords of squat sit in their rue. They are high up, penthouse high, but they aren't in heaven, mother. I wonder what you thought giving birth to me. Giving birth in wonder, your love was like a magnet seizing me. My earth now is you. Who are the lords of squat? I want their names. Hush, boy, you would only squander them. Your lips are moving, mother, in the heaven of names, in the words of drizzle. Hush, boy, I'm tired now. Heaven is for sleep. Let me sleep. So, when I was growing up, Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin were a thing, and then their divorce affected me deeply. I don't know why. I think it was. I don't know why, but it seemed profound to me that they had been great partners and they split up, I guess, and I was just a kid. Um, so, you know, 50 years later, I wrote this poem called The Jerry Lewis Story. Being Jerry Lewis, I would have no trouble cutting Paris with a fork. Unbelief would disappear and error would be no more. I would fire once and Dean Martin would fall through the sky. He must have been hiding in the sky. Of all the movies we ever made, the ones where I kissed him, stand up. The side of a fork is harder than the edge of a knife, yet the Eiffel Tower split like the bones of a fish. Did you ever see the movie where I became mayor of Paris? The French loved me so much they pinned medals on my chest right at the nipple. Yes, that hurt, and I cried all the time, but everyone kept laughing. That hurt more, and they laughed harder, a loop of tears and laughter. That's the movie I should have made after Dean left. Now that the tears have dried, it all looks different, a still photograph with a matte finish. You bring the dust and I'll bring the ashes. I see belief disappearing, so unbelief must be next. Or is that an error? I live in my own thoughts, my own dreams. I have heard the mermaids singing each to each in a sawdust barroom in Paris. Alas, no one gives you medals for that, but it still hurts. Alas, I am not Jerry Lewis anymore. I am the whisper of Jerry Lewis, which would be kind of nice, maybe to be. Um, I think I'm almost out of time, and I'm going to just read maybe. I love this when poets do this. I'm going to read 25 more poems, but yeah, I'll read this little thing I wrote called the Iliad. Um, anyway, so let me read this one. Good night, egg. There's a do-nothing me eating a peanut sandwich. There's a quiet me learning silence from a brick. A dozen eggs wanted to be in this poem, but they were stopped at the border. We interrupt this poem to allow time for the past to slowfoot. The eggs got tired of waiting and started rolling down the street. They were wise eggs, but their agenda was opaque, a whiteout like in Quebec. There were eyes in each egg, unable to open. They were shut tight against a future stuck in the past. A billion eggs roll through fallopian tubes. Which ones get lucky? The eyes have it. The third version of me read this poem in my sleep and tried to memorize it. Um, So I'll just read a kind of maybe a more of a lyrical farewell to y'all, and thanks again for listening. It's called Well Enough Alone. What would be left of me after you left me? The girl in the railroad station with the crippled hand, a violet island rising out of light, the moon of a moon, ill-shapen and wayward. Is there a way with words? Because I can't find one. The only words left are an ill assortment, a pile of chipped bricks. Who can build a house out of seeds? And who alone can find a left shoe? I was looking under the bed on my knees. They're in the red suitcase, you said, probably. You were being modest. The sickness was believing alone was anything new. You dream alone. You will die alone. Isn't that enough alone for one life? And leaving well enough alone is leaving too soon. How can you live well enough alone? Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Roger. That was really just stunning. Really, thank you. That was just really beautiful. Yeah, I'm very moved. Again, like I said to the others, I can't wait till we can actually be in the same room together because, I mean, it's many years since I've seen you, and it would be nice to see you again. All right, we're about to move into the